Hello everybody, I'm Clark, and today we're diving into the basics of investing. I've spent the last 15 years immersing myself in the world of investing, continually learning and refining my strategies. Now I'm excited to share the insights and knowledge that I've gained with you. Whether you're looking to grow your wealth or achieve your financial goals, understanding the fundamentals of investing is crucial. So, what exactly is investing? In simple terms, investing is putting your money into something with the hopes that it will grow over time. You can invest in things like stocks, bonds, or real estate. The idea is that these investments will make more money for you, either through interest, dividends, or by increasing in value. This is different from saving, where you put your money in a low risk account like a savings account, which earns a very small amount of interest but is not subject to market volatility. There are various types of investments you can choose from. Let's break them down. So number one is a stock. When you buy stocks, you purchase a share of ownership in a company. Stocks can offer high returns if the company performs well, but they also come with higher risk due to market volatility. If a company struggles, your investments will likely also go down. Picking and choosing individual stocks can be risky and requires you to do research to evaluate the health of all these companies you're investing in. Next, we have bonds. Bonds are debt securities issued by governments or corporations. When you buy a bond, you're essentially lending money to the issuer in exchange for periodic interest payments and the return of the bond's face value at maturity. Bonds are considered safer than stocks but offer lower returns. Next up are mutual funds. Mutual funds pool money from multiple investors to buy a diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, or other securities. They are managed by a professional fund manager and offer diversification, making them a very popular choice for individual investors. You can think of a mutual fund like a basket of stocks. You're getting a little bit of multiple companies, and in some cases hundreds or even thousands of companies. When you buy or sell a mutual fund, it will be processed at the end of the day. Here are a couple of my favorite funds. Fidelity 500 Index Fund, or FXAIX. This follows the S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies in the US. The Vanguard Total Stock Market Fund, VTSAX. This provides broad exposure to the entire stock market. Next up, we have ETFs, or exchange traded funds, and they are similar to mutual funds, but these are traded on the stock exchange, just like individual stocks. They offer diversification and can be bought and sold throughout the trading day. This is the same concept as a mutual fund, but with a little more flexibility on when you can trade it. Here are a couple of my favorite ETFs. VOO, which is Vanguard's S&P 500 fund. This follows the top 500 companies in the US. And Vanguard's Total Stock Market ETF, or VTI. This provides broad exposure to the entire stock market. When evaluating mutual funds and ETFs, you should be looking for low-cost funds. When looking at the funds, find the expense ratio. This is a very important ratio. A lot of Vanguard funds are 0.04% or less, which is really good. That means for every $10,000 you have invested, you would pay $4 a year in fees. Over 10 years, that is $40. Let's say you have a fund with a higher expense ratio and the fee is 0.7%. For that same $10,000 invested dollars, you'd be paying $70 a year, and over 10 years that would be $700. You can see how over time that expense ratio can really add up, especially as you have more money invested. Next up, we have real estate. Investing in real estate involves purchasing properties to generate rental income or profit from appreciation. Real estate can provide steady income and long-term growth, but requires significant capital and management. If you are not interested in being a landlord, another option to gain exposure to real estate without purchasing properties is to invest in REITs. A REIT stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. This is a company that owns, operates, or finances income-producing real estate. This is similar to a mutual fund where you can get exposure to many different companies that own real estate and earn dividends from those real estate investments. And next up is cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are digital assets that use the blockchain technology for secure transactions. They are highly volatile and can offer substantial returns, but they also come with some significant risk. The biggest and most popular crypto is Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been one of the best performing assets of the past decade, but it is still very speculative. Having a small percentage of your portfolio in Bitcoin or another speculative asset is okay. I personally like to keep speculative assets or high-risk assets to 5% or less of my portfolio. So now you are ready to start investing, but where do you start? Here are the steps I personally would take. Step number 1, set clear financial goals. Clearly define your investment objectives. Are you saving for retirement, buying a home, or funding education? Having specific goals helps guide your investment strategy. Step number 2, create a budget. Determine how much money you can allocate for each investment each month. Ensure that your budget accounts for all your essential expenses and emergency savings. Your essential expenses include housing, utility, food, transportation, healthcare, any debt payments you have, personal care like basic hygiene products, and childcare costs. Number 3, choose an investment account. Now that you have your goal and know how much money you can save, it's time to select the appropriate account type based on your goals. A 401k is ideal for retirement savings if your employer offers this plan. Contributions are often matched by the employer and the funds grow tax-deferred until you withdraw them. An IRA or individual retirement account. There are 2 main types: traditional IRA, which grows tax-deferred, and a Roth IRA, which grows tax-free. Number 3 is a brokerage account, a flexible investment account that allows you to buy and sell a variety of securities like stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. It's not specifically for retirement, but can be used for any sort of general savings and investment goals. Number 4 is a 529 account, designed for education savings. Contributions grow tax-free, and withdrawals are tax-free when used for qualified educational expenses. Number 5 is an HSA or health savings account, one of my favorite accounts. This is great for saving for medical expenses. Contributions are tax deductible and withdrawals for qualified medical expenses are tax-free. Number 6 is your regular savings account. This is best for short-term goals like saving for a house or a vacation. It offers easy access to your funds and typically earns interest. If possible, find a high-yield savings account so you are earning some interest on your money. Next up, we need to look at choosing what investments to put our money into. If we are investing in the market, we should do some research on what to buy in the stock market. A great place to start is looking at mutual funds and ETFs, like I mentioned earlier. They will help you stay diversified. In the beginning, it's fine to start small. Just be consistent with your investments. The best time to start is today. Begin investing with any amount you can and gradually increase your contributions. Even a small amount will grow over time. Consistency is key to building wealth over time. We are not trying to get rich quick. We are just building the foundation so our money can grow slowly over time. One of the most popular investment strategies is to dollar cost average. To dollar cost average, you invest a specific amount on regular intervals. This could be weekly or monthly or even quarterly. The key here is you are not timing the market and you invest no matter what is happening. It is impossible to time the market. Research shows that 78 to 97% of actively managed stock market funds underperform their benchmark over a 10-year period. If the people getting paid to beat the market are almost always failing to beat the market, then I myself don't think I ever stand a chance. This is why I love dollar cost averaging, and it's the only way I personally invest. To make dollar cost averaging even easier, you can set up automatic transfers from your bank account to your investment account. Then in your investment account, you can set up an automatic buy of the funds you want to purchase. This ensures that you consistently invest without having to manually make transactions, removing the emotional aspect of investing and helping you stay disciplined. Next, I would make sure to regularly review and adjust your portfolio as needed. I like to check my overall portfolio 1 to 2 times a year to make sure I stay diversified and that my investments align with my goals. Let's talk about some common pitfalls to avoid that will help you become a successful investor. Number 1, new investors often get tempted by investments promising very high returns because they want to grow their money as fast as possible. However, it is important to remember that if something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. The S&P 500 has returned on average 9.8% since its inception, which is a very solid return over the long term. Anything around 10% annually is considered a very strong investment. If an investment is offering returns higher than this, it is crucial to approach it with caution and conduct thorough research. The next common pitfall is failing to diversify your portfolio. This can expose you to significant risk. If your portfolio consists of only a few stocks and one of these companies struggles and loses significant value, your portfolio will take a very big hit. Diversification helps mitigate losses by spreading investments across various asset classes, sectors, and geographies. Index funds and even target date funds can help you be diversified very easily. Another common pitfall is emotional investing. Making investment decisions based on emotion, such as fear or greed, can lead to poor outcomes. Take a look at this study where it analyzed if you missed the 10 best days, just the 10 best days in the S&P 500 from 1995 to 2024, your investment would be cut by 54%. It's important to stay disciplined, stick to your investment strategy, and avoid making impulse decisions based on market fluctuations. A lot of times, the best days in the market come right after some of the worst days. If you're looking for a great read on how we think about money and making financial decisions, I highly recommend The Psychology of Money. It is packed with so many insights. Plus, I've done a detailed review on the book in a video. Check it out. One of my favorite quotes is, "Time in the market beats timing the market." Keep your money invested and working for you regardless of what the market is doing. There's going to be ups and downs, but in the long run, historically, the market has always increased in value. Remember, investing is a powerful tool to grow your wealth and secure your financial future. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your strategy, the key is to stay informed and make decisions that align with your goals. Let me know in the comments where you're at in your investment journey. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.